there's like nobody even on the call. Oh gosh. I'll give everybody 2 minutes to dial in. Talk about uploading a file into Nestablish. You can do it a couple of ways. One, you can manually enter the data, or you can take it directly from your LOS, which I would recommend. As you all know, you should, when you're pre-qualifying someone, you should always pre-qualify them for the maximum amount they qualify for, so you're getting the highest and best use out of Nestablish. Okay? So what I'm going to do is take a 1003 here, which we have John Jones and Kelly Jones, husband and wife, and I'm going to go to the Services tab to export this file. So I'm going to go to Access Other Lenders, and I'm going to go to Export File to Other Partners tab on your Encompass LOS. And it's going to ask you the export purpose. I usually just put Other, and then the description can just be the Fannie Mae 3.2 file format. And then you hit Continue. And it's going to have some things that maybe you didn't complete on the initial pre-qualification process. You can just continue through that. And it's going to export this file to my desktop, and it's going to tell me exactly where. See users, under my desktop, Fannie Mae 3.2 file for John Jones has been created. So I just go ahead and X out of that. And for all intents and purposes, I'm done with Encompass at this point. So I can just simply go to Nestablish, my dashboard here, and I'm going to go to the Loans tab because we're uploading a loan. And there's two tabs. You have a Leads Loan and a Loan Loan. Loans are where you upload people that you've pre-qualified. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new loan, and I'm going to select the state in which I pre-qualified the buyer, which happens to be Arizona. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and create a new loan, and I'm going to require the buyer to sign the mortgage letter of understanding and the needs list. I want them to actually review their needs list, and we'll get into that shortly here. So I'm going to choose a file, and I'm going to locate John Jones here, and he's right here, and I'm going to hit Complete Upload. And when you do this, it'll import about 95 to 90% of your pre-qualification form. And if you notice, it didn't import an email for Kelly Jones. You simply want to click on same email as buyer. So they're not getting two separate invitations. If you want them to get two separate invitations, you certainly can do that by taking down the spouse's email address as well, and it would import from Encompass. I choose not to because it tends to confuse the buyers. So if you just keep it real simple and just send one invitation out, you're fine. And then you can go ahead and hit Save Changes. And it's going to bring you to the next screen, which is going to be the loan terms. So I have this person pre-qualified for a maximum purchase price of $250,000, and it is calculating the mortgage insurance premium correctly, and it has their interest rate at 4%. And if I just scroll down here, it's going to show you the max payment that the borrower qualifies for, which is $1,656.20. So this is really relevant because you always qualify borrowers off of payment, not loan amount. And we allow the real estate agents to edit two fields. We allow them to update the real estate property taxes when they make an offer on the property and the HOA dues. And when those fields are completed, as long as it doesn't exceed the maximum payment of $1,656.21, they are certainly free to print off as many pre-quals as they want without having to contact you. So as you can see, this is kind of going to start to look familiar from a PQF standpoint. We have the loan marked as an FHA loan that came over from the LOS and the Fannie 3.2 file. We're going to go ahead and make the assumption here that it's a single-family property. And if you wanted to add some additional comments on here, you know, strong credit, good assets, good income, what have you, you can add those comments just like you can in the regular PQF. And my expiration date is defaulting to 90 days, which is about the length and time in which credit is still good before you have to rerun and re-pull. So I'm going to go ahead and save these changes. And then, of course, this is going to start to look familiar as well. You're going to have buyer is or is not relying on the sale or lease of his property to qualify. I'm going to go ahead and put is not. Buyer is relying on concessions. And then because it's an FHA loan, we're going to go ahead and make the assumption that we knocked out the HUD for your protection to get a home inspection. Lenders completed a verbal discussion with the buyer, including discussion of income and assets. I'm going to mark that as well. I'm also going to mark that I obviously ran a tri-merge credit report. And at this point, you may or may not have the initial requested documentation. Pay stubs, W-2s, gift documentation, you may not have that. So you can typically leave that blank. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. Some agents may want to see that you reviewed it, as you know, but you have the option to mark those as well. Now this is really kind of slick here. This is your needs list. Typically how it works in our industry is you take a loan application, you look at their credit, you take their income information, you see if they qualify, and you run it through your DU, LP, and hopefully you get an approved eligible response. If you do, then you obviously tell your real estate agents that they're pre-qualified. And then you sit. Well, with Nestablish, we want you to take that out of your LOS once you've determined that they're pre-qualified and get it into our system and issue the PQF out to the agents so they can start putting in offers on properties at their leisure. In addition to that, this is a great opportunity to configure your needs list and request documentation from the borrower. So in this particular case, it's an FHA loan, so I'm going to want to make sure I get the driver's license, Social Security cards. I want to also make sure I have pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns. Typically nowadays is pretty common. If there's any 1099 income, you can ask for that stuff as well. Asset verification, bank statements. We even try to indicate copies of 2 months bank statements for checking statements. All pages, even if blank, we try to make that abundantly clear. Maybe the guy has 401k statements. I can click on that as well. And you can uncheck things and not request them, okay, if you don't feel you need them. And then the other nice thing is you can also add your own custom options. If, for example, you needed 12 months canceled checks or proof of income from a note, you can add those customized fields here and request them. And you just simply go down to the very bottom and add a custom needs list. It might be something like, proof student loans are in deferment for 12 months. You would just name, student loans, and then proof, no payment due for 12 months. Oops, bad typing. And then you would hit Save. And there it is. So I can now mark that as an item that's required for this particular transaction. And I'm going to go ahead and save these changes. And then it's going to ask me to digitally sign it. So you just simply type in your name. If you haven't had any activity on your Nestablish account for a while, it's going to ask you to re-enter your password. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to sign and pre-qualify this borrower. And then it's going to take me to the actual loan summary page. And on the loan summary page, this is where I can invite buyer and co-buyer. And when I hit this button, it would send an email to John Jones and Kelly Jones, one link, which makes it really simple, where they can jump on a computer and digitally sign their pre-qualification form. This is not a legally binding document, but we do ask them to validate it with their password. We are collecting the data as a timestamp in which they signed and dated it, as well as their IP address on the back end. And then, of course, you would go down and you would invite your real estate agents. And as you start using Nestablish, you'll have real estate agents inside Nestablish. You can simply click Invite. So if I hit this button, it would send an invite out to Jim Brown, Realtor. And it would automatically send it out to him, and he would have access to this borrower's information. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and return to the loan summary page here. And we're going to show you how to print the pre-qual and what it looks like once the pre-qualification has been signed by the buyer. It would have their signatures on it as well. But it's generating the PDF. Takes a few seconds here. And it's going to show it down in the bottom corner typically if you're using Chrome. If you're using IE8, sometimes there's a little bar that comes up here. You got to make sure it allows you to continue the download. But there you go. There you have it. It's magic. We have a pre-qualification form completed. shows the max payment the borrower qualifies for, loan amount information, as well as what we've reviewed, everything. Our information on there, and my company information, obviously, and it shows it's digitally signed by me, Nestablish, e-signed, and the date stamp. Okay? And once you invite the buyer, their signatures would show up on this as well. So all your agents have to do when they get their invitation, we'll get into this later, is they just go in and manipulate the offer price. So it's really, really simple, and it makes your life inherently easier. And I think that pretty much covers everything on inviting and uploading a file into Nestablish. I think you'll find that it's super simple, and we're going to continue next week with some other great tips. And if you have any questions, certainly feel free to use the live chat on the website. That's always the best way to get a hold of somebody if you need something urgently. Everybody have a great day.